Hi, I'm Greg Hunter. This is the weekly news wrap up for Friday, December 6th, 2019, the WNW 413 impeachment hearings. I don't really have a lot of new stuff to say about it. It was a disaster with Congressman Schiff in the Intel Committee. In the House of Representatives. I guess he thought they'd start over there and they'd get some really good intelligence, and they got nothing. Just to sum it up, I mean, the only fact witness that can testify in the Senate, the one that doesn't have hearsay or opinion, is Ambassador Sondland. And he came out and Donald Trump, he said, I asked the president, what do you want? And the president said, I want nothing. I want nothing. No quid pro quo, no quid pro quo. There's even a text to back that up later from Sondland to the people in Ukraine. So now this thing moves over to the Judiciary Committee, which is really where all the impeachment should go. And they have these four legal scholars. One of them is Jonathan Turley, who did have the sense enough to say the only abuse of power with all this is with the Democrats. And he's a professor at George Washington University. And the university was inundated with angry liberals wanting him fired. The other three were from Stanford, Harvard, and the University of North Carolina. And if I was a dean at those schools watching this idiocy, this legal Three Stooges of their legal analysis and their lawyering, where there's no fact witnesses and it's all hearsay, and they want the president impeached. Matt Gaetz, the congressman, all you got to know, you could go to Matt Gaetz. I'm going to put the link in here. It really takes off towards the end. He destroys these people. And this is all they have are opinion witnesses from the legal scholars. Turley destroyed him, and he's basically a guy that voted for Hillary and said the only abuse of power is with the House of Representatives. They continue. And the other people were just, you should just see, here's I just feel headlines here. Matt Gaetz, Florida, destroys, he's a lawyer, destroys House Dems legal experts during impeachment testimony or impeachment hearing. They must have thought that they were coming to like a TTA group. These people in the House on both sides are former federal prosecutors, former defense attorneys, judges, people with a lot of legal experience, and these legal professors are, unless they have a good case, these people can pick it apart. And Gaetz did just that. He talked about how the three, heavily partisan people all gave to Democrat candidates, including the Clintons, Kamala Harris, and other people, and showed how they were biased. He also brought up the fact that he asked them all, any of you, check this out, do any of you have personal knowledge of a single material fact in the Schiff impeachment report? Please raise your hand. Let the record reflect. Wait, crickets. That's the ... Might as well just say crickets. Please let the record reflect no personal knowledge of a single fact. And then he brought up Ambassador Sondland. The president said, I want nothing. When asked, what do you want by Sondland? I want nothing. No quid pro quo. That's what he came up with. He just destroyed him and talked about all the hearsay witnesses that didn't know anything. And none of those people can testify in the Senate. Which now we find out Nancy Pelosi is going to go forward after this disaster, this incredible disaster where one of the witnesses had to bring up, Barron Trump. You can name your kid Barron, but you can't make him a Baron. In other words, Trump's not a king. It's stupid. I mean, and this is, as I've been saying to you, this is obviously very poorly thought out, and even worse, not executed properly at all. You even had Jerry Nadler in the Judiciary Committee falling asleep during his own hearing. This was supposed to be, if you back up, these guys put a lot of work into this. They got the Mueller investigation started. Thank you, Jeff Sessions. They went on that for, I don't know how long, to make it, bipartisan with a Republican who's a shill, Mueller, and then, all Democrats, including people who work for the Clinton Foundation. Anyway, and they got nothing. And then, and I wonder if this is Plan B, the insurance policy they were really talking about with Strzok and Page. Erica Charlie, That's what they called him, Charlie. And they want this guy to testify. They also want Schiff to testify, the Republicans. And Sensenbrenner was on television the other night, and he said that I listen, if Nadler can get testimony out of Mueller, then Schiff, who wrote this impeachment report, ought to testify. And listen, they don't want that, and that's not going to happen in the House. And because you had Schiff and his staff meeting the whistleblower in crafting a complaint. I mean, this is an operation. That's what they show. This is Plan B. And what they're proving in all these hearings, which are way lopsided, and you can read the lopsided. It's not my opinion. You could read it for yourself in the House impeachment proceedings that they was passed in the House. You can see how biased it is. You can watch the hearings and watch, when somebody wants to call a witness, they can't do it. When they want to continue questioning, he stops it. The questioning gets too unsympathetic to the impeachment cause. They block and hamper and stop questions they don't like, testimony they don't like, documents that doesn't, they stop documents of prior testimony that they did in secret. Listen, this is going badly for the Democrats. There's no way Nancy Pelosi, Nadler, and Schiff are looking at this going, this is going great. I mean, it reminds me of, a scene with Thelma and Louise, flying over the cliff with the car. Yee! In this case, you could Photoshop Nadler in the back seat, flying off the cliff. And this is going awful. And now Nancy's going to, we're going to continue with impeachment, with the articles of impeachment. Well, then they have to be articles of lies. Because there's only one fact witness, and that's Sondland. That's the only one that can testify in the Senate. If you follow the rules of testimony, federal rules of testimony, hearsay people, Bob told me that, Wanda told me that Jack told me that, I heard from it's awful for them. And how, I don't know what Nancy Pelosi is thinking. She already couldn't get all of her members. And Kevin McCarthy, the minority leader, has been saying he questions whether she has the votes. I question that too. And I also question, does she have like 220, 221, that she may have another 10 or 12 or 13 or 15 more Democrats go, this is crazy. I'm not voting for this. I don't know. And then does she really want to send it to the Senate? I mean, they're going to call Schiff. They're going to call Joe Biden. They're going to call Hunter Biden. They're going to grind him into the dirt. I don't get this. Unless they think if they can impeach the president, they get the tag of impeachment, impeached president, even though he's not removed. Maybe they think that's all they got. I think it's sheer desperation. I think these people some of them are trying to stay out of jail. I think they're up to their necks in fraud, in kickback schemes. You can take a look at the whole thing at the Ukraine, which is the tip of the iceberg of the deep state State Department give foreign aid and kick back to all kinds of people, kick back a chunk of it to all kinds of other people, that are in the Democrat Party, maybe some even in the Republican Party. I don't know, but it's a giant kickback scheme. That's why maybe Trump wants to stop that. I think that these people are absolutely crazy desperate, and I think many of them could end up going to jail for a cornucopia of crimes. And if he gets a second term, he's going to have a lot of time to work. His Justice Department is going to have a lot of time to work on that. Now, some people say Barr's a bushy and he's not going to do anything. Well, I don't know. We shall see. I do know that John Solomon is reporting that he comes out and says, investigative reporter John Solomon, he has his own website, johnsolomonreports.com, also a contributor at Fox. John Solomon, the 10 most important revelations to expect from the Russia probe FISA report. Now, they're going after the origins of this Russian collusion hoax, which is exactly what it is, a statement of fact, not what I think. And also the FISA applying for FISA warrants to spy on everything Trump using a phony document. This is all proven fact now. Phony document paid for by the DNC, which Hillary Clinton took over, according to Donna Brazell, paid $20 million to take over the DNC in 2016. And they paid for that, the DNC, Hillary, And they used this phony document to apply for FISA warrants. Andrew McCabe said no dossier, Steele dossier, no FISA spy warrants would have been approved. So they used this phony dossier to spy on everything Trump. And several people, including Comey, the number one at the FBI, McCabe, and also Rosenstein at the DOJ, all signed off on this, along with, there's another, Nancy Yates? Yates. I believe that's her. These people are in trouble. I mean, it's just fraud on the court. And don't you think it's weird that we haven't heard anything from John Roberts, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, who also oversees FISA, that he's not out there going, whoa, if they lied to my court, my FISA court, whoa, wait. Nope. Crickets on that. And then also Sullivan says, listen, you've seen all these stories about how, Comey's going to be cleared and nobody's going to be indicted. He said, look, forget all that. That's all noise. The only person that's seen this report, according to Solomon, is William Barr. And remember, Barr and Durham have ongoing criminal investigations, and I don't believe they were going to ever call this a criminal investigation and then at the end of a year or something go, oh, just kidding. Oh, we got a couple of low-level people that changed a few documents that are going to go to jail for 20 years, and that's it. Thank you. I don't believe that's going to happen. So then you have this here. So he talks about some. I didn't name them all, but you're going to find out the scope of the failure and the misconduct. I'm going to call that law breaking as well. There's a major sedition, treason, law breaking, a major stuff going on here. And how can you get so many people to break the law and cause one felony after another just because you like Democrats as opposed to Republicans? I don't think so. I think it's because all of them are corrupt. They have a money train. They have an income stream. They have fraud, bribery, sedition, treason, kickbacks, you name it, all involved in what's another felony or two. And then you're going to get a scope of failure and misconduct. One of them, news leaks as evidence. Now, remember I talked to you about this. Let me say whether it was appropriate for the FBI to use a Yahoo News article as validating evidence to support the Steele dossier. And remember I told you about the media leak strategy. Now, this was talked about by Peter Strzok. He was the number 2 FBI counterintelligence agent, the deputy, high ranking. And his lover, Lisa Page, was the attorney to Andrew McCabe, the number 2 at the FBI, who later became interim FBI director for a short while. These are 2 high-ranking people talking about, in their text, quote, the media leak strategy. You mean like putting a story out there and then letting the media report on it, and then you take that story and you take it to a FISA court and say, well, here's backup to it. Here's Michael Isikoff or whoever talking about this, the Steele dossier as being bona fide. Of course, they didn't say, oh yeah, Hillary Clinton, the DNC paid for it, the competitor to Donald Trump. Then also, what's going to be in it, criminal referrals and disciplinary actions. Lots of wrongdoing at both FBI and DOJ equal lots of criminal referrals? I think so. This is more than 500 pages and 100 witness interviews before it's done. And back to the media. Listen, the media does not get a First Amendment exemption for committing a sedition, a fraud, treason, and knowingly being involved in an op to knock out a duly elected president and knock out the Republican nominee. I mean, this is all going on before and after Donald Trump was elected. You don't get a First Amendment exemption to do anything you want to participate in an op. And it's not just the reporters. It's management. It's like Newsweek firing some female reporter after she did a piece about Trump golfing all the time and he was over in Afghanistan. Wow, what a smarmy thing to do. Blame some female reporter, which she shouldn't have written the story. She's a partisan too, but her bosses approved that. You don't put anything you want on Newsweek as the reporter. You have an editorial process. You have bosses. You're going to do a story that slam dunks the president for being a lazy oaf, playing golf all the time at his resort. Oops. You think you could just slap that on anybody's air or anybody's magazine? I don't think so. So they fired her as a scapegoat. I think everybody at Newsweek should be fired for allowing that story to go on. Like, we can't believe she did that. Like, she snuck in at night and posted that on their magazine and their website. Please stop. So there's lots of problems with this. Just lots of problems with that are coming down the road. Destabilizing problems. That's another thing. Here, Trump's over at NATO, and they got these stupid impeachment scam, sham, factless hearings. They're going to have to draft articles of impeachment with outright lies in them. They're going to have to. With hearsay evidence. Going to have to. And so it's very destabilizing the world's watching this, very destabilizing to the economy. It's very destabilizing to the currency, to the bond market. I mean, remember when Trump said a while ago, the Democrats, we have a blow up, the Democrats going to be responsible for it. And I think he's right. I mean, these people are putting this out, even if the people abroad who are making fun or disliking Trump, listen, they have to have a good case. They're watching this going, wow, there's really nothing here. I mean, this is kind of embarrassing. It looks like America is a bunch of, slipshod jokester fraudsters. I mean, and I think they're fighting hard because there's a lot of dirt, and many of them are going to get charged and go to jail for it. And who knows, maybe worse. The penalty for treason is death. That can happen. It has happened before in post-World War II America, where there are people that were executed for helping the Nazis. So, and it's gotten nasty, completely nasty in the mainstream press. I mean, just lie. I've never seen this level of lying. It's always, when I was at the networks and up to 2008, it was always a little bent, a little lean, but they tried to at least give the facade, the appearance, and tried to make things look like they were trying to be fair. I mean, when I was working, I could never do a story without calling them and say, hey, I'm going to do a story on, say, this and that, and I want to get your side of it. I mean, listen, as a reporter, you wanted their side. It kept you from being sued. I mean, and, plus there are times where we found out something by talking to the other side. Oh, my gosh, I didn't know this. One time, we killed a story over there, talking to the other side. We were doing a story. I can't remember what it was, but our expert had a good case, except for one thing. He said he was a PhD, and he had a diploma mill PhD. And the people that we were talking to said, you may want to look into his credentials. I said, stop, listen. If you know something, don't let us get it wrong. If you know something, you tell us. You should check into his degree. We think it's a diploma mill degree. And sure enough, it was. Boom. End of story. That story went bye-bye. I always had a rule. Lie to me one time. Just one time. Story gone. Boom. I'm not going to try to decipher it. Is this a lie? Is that a lie? Is this? And I'm not talking about $7.99. It was really $800. I'm not talking about something like that. I'm talking about a lie. This guy, whoa. Anyway, so here we have Devin Nunes. And how bad does it have to get before you start throwing lawsuits at people? Here's one. Devin Nunes says, Adam Schiff violated my civil liberties. All legal options, phone snooping and pursuing. He basically got his phone records, and he's talking about his civil rights being violated. He's talking about all legal options. They're going to. He violated my civil rights with all legal options. Phone snooping, pursuing. Then Nunes is suing CNN for more than $435 million over a Ukraine Biden report that he says is totally false. Matter of fact, he has pictures that he was somewhere else at the time, and he's had enough. He's talked about how CNN follows him around and lies all the time, and he says, I'm not going to give them quotes. Listen, people don't, as a reporter, I always had to make somebody's best case, even if they refused to talk to me, even if they had no comment. That doesn't give you I can say whatever I want now. Oh, no. No, you got to work even harder to try to make their best case. And, they were saying that he was basically trying to dig up dirt in Biden. He was here and here and here. And he was like, no, I wasn't. I was there and there and there. And I got pictures to prove it. CNN's going to be in trouble for this. I don't know what they're going to hide behind that. Or First Amendment, or he's famous, or we can write anything we want. I'm telling you, it's gotten terrible, and it's gotten so bad that people are starting to sue the propaganda. They're not media. They're not news. They're not news media. They're propaganda organizations. I mean, if Sorensen School of Journalism at Harvard did a news test about how many of the top publications, wrote biased articles and negative articles, I bet you all of them would be in the 90% range or maybe approaching 100%. I don't know of a single positive story that NBC or CNN or some of these other people, ABC, the New York Times maybe, but rarely. So, we are entering an age where it's very destabilizing. And if you look at the money people here in America, I mean, even if you're a dyed-in-the-wool Dem, you look at Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and Steyer and Bloomberg, and you're looking at communism. These people love China, love communism, socialism, National Socialism. That's how the Nazi Party got their name, National Socialist German Workers' Party. National Socialist too long. They're socialists. They're National Socialist. They're I don't know what you want to call them, but they're certainly not for liberty, the Constitution, Bill of Rights, and we the people. I mean, this is just something I took off the internet. This is the Democrat platform for the year 2020. I mean, this is not a joke, folks. Socialism, abortion, full-term abortion. Yet 44 senators vote for not to save a child if it makes it through an abortion. They want to raise your taxes, bragging about open borders, defund the military, take away guns, all of them, not just common sense. The guy in Virginia, the new governor or the governor in Virginia, just wanted a majority in both House and Senate. And they want to make just about every gun illegal. Call every gun an assault weapon. If you have it, you'll get a felony violation that's good for 1 to 5 years in prison. I mean, this is off the charts, folks. Here we have, they want to weaken the economy. That's what the Paris Climate Accord was. That we were going to pay for all that nirvana, and meanwhile allow India and China with India has 1.3 and China has 1.4, 2.6 or 7 billion people. They can pollute all they want till the year 2020. Trump stopped that. That's one of the things Trump's done with the economy. I'll get to that in just a minute. This is just what they're doing. Defend illegal aliens, sanctuary cities, criminal aliens, not working with ICE, let them out instead of deporting them. Suppress free speech. Hillary Clinton said that there are limits to the Second Amendment, and there are limits to the First. Heard her say it. Reparations for slavery. Remove electoral college. I mean, who in the right mind would support this stuff? And this is why the grand middle is floating away from the Democrats. This is why there's 25% of Democrat participation in the last Trump rally. They're very destabilizing, folks. And then all the money printing is off the rails. Listen, and I want to make sure this is perfectly. Donald Trump did a magnificent job. This is my thumbnail deal. Listen, of what I think's going on. I don't have any sources for this. It's just what I think's going on doing this for a while. Hillary was supposed to be in charge during the bankruptcy when it blew up. At some point in her 8 years, she was going to be in charge. And instead, God's the kingmaker, we got Donald Trump. And what did Donald Trump do? He ramped up the economy, ramped up the stock market. He did things even the evil tech and big money players loved. Repatriation of money with a very low tax rate. Stock market takes off. It's got to fall from a higher high. He got energy production ramped up. I think we're the net number one exporter of oil in the world. We certainly have dramatically increased our energy production. Maybe some of that is some of the money that Rob Kirby brought up, that they're losing money on some of this natural gas or whatever. But the fact is we became much more independent in energy. He cut a lot of regulations. He stopped the Trans-Pacific Partnership, the Paris Climate Accord, which is going to milk money out of the United States of America and we the people. He stopped the fraudulent Iran nuke deal where they were tweeting out in Iran how they were going to expose the Western leaders who took bribes. We sent pallets of money over there. Tulsi Gabbard thinks that was a great idea. who works for the, according to her press release, is a member of the Council on Foreign Relations. The anti-We the People. And so this whole thing that Donald Trump did is nothing but a time buying thing. I mean, people talk about, well, he's increased the deficit. I mean, excuse me, nobody cared about the deficit. Nobody cared about the deficit back in 1999. Nobody cared about us doing away with the Glass-Steagall, which separated investment banking from commercial banking, which means the FDIC can bail out people like Goldman Sachs. Nobody was talking about the deficit when Bush took over. Nobody was talking about the deficit when he blew it from 5 trillion to 10 trillion, and Obama blew it from 10 trillion to almost 20 trillion. When were we not going to pay this back? Please stop with this stupid idea. Oh, we need to cut the debt. We're not going to cut the deficit. We're not going to cut it. We were never going to pay it back. I think the decision was made in 1998 after long-term capital management. Clinton signs the Graham-Bliley-Leach Act, which effectively does away with Glass-Steagall, and the bailouts began. Nobody cared. Now all of a sudden people care about the deficit? So he's supposed to implode the economy? Oh, no. We couldn't cut $85 billion. Remember the sequester fraud? $85 billion. Oh, fighting like dogs and cats, $85 billion. Meanwhile, at the same time, this is around 2012, they're giving $40 billion a month to the banks, and not anybody in the House or the Senate, Republican or Democrat, would ask the banking people, hey, who's getting that money? But $85 billion, a sequester? Oh, we're going to go to the mat over it. We're not going to pay anything back, folks. What Donald Trump is doing is the only thing he really can do if he wants to save America. If he wants to crash America and let the socialists and Nazis take over, then you would crash it immediately. So what is he doing? He's ramping up production of oil. He's cutting regulation. He's getting us out of these stupid deals. He's cutting off China. He's printing money. They're printing money like crazy. They're kind of doing it now because we don't want Donald Trump to be in office when this blows up. We won't get bailed out. It's going to be bad for rich people and the globalists. That's what we're talking about here. So what's he doing? What's another couple of $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 trillion? We're going to default on what? 20 trillion when he walked into office, 21 trillion with the secret money that Mark Skidmore and Catherine Austin Fitts talked about, 41 trillion the day he put his hand on the Bible. We're going to start paying some stuff off. No, we're not. That's cuckoo. Forget it. We're talking about 1970s thinking. We're going to pay off our debts. No, we're not. We're going to default on them. Donald Trump is going to oversee the bankruptcy, but how the money gets distributed isn't going to be the same way that Hillary was going, and her cronies and criminals in Washington. 6% of the people in Washington voted for that criminal, right? Oh, no. That's not going to be that way. This is why this was done, folks. And let me hearken you back to this. And please, this was not done for grins and giggles. The executive order blocking the property of persons involved in serious human rights abuse or corruption. This was December 21st, 2017. And what was he doing? Protecting the financial system of the United States against people doing, human trafficking, human rights abuse, or corruption. Like the stuff going on in Ukraine. Called it a national emergency. Not one dope in the press corps would ask, hey, whoa, this is a national emergency. Could you please explain this a national emergency? All the dopes at ABC, CNN, NBC, dopes, stupid, corrupt. MSNBC, stupid. I mean, this is on the whitehouse.gov. This is not a tinfoil hat thing. Reason why I did this, folks. So how much money can he confiscate from these people? How ugly is this going to get? Where does he need to get to before they can pull the trigger? Is it now? Is it going to be forced up early? By the globalists who are losing this whole impeachment battle? I don't know. Is it going to be forced up in 2021? I think at the very least, that's the longest we have. Sometime in 2021, boom, the trigger gets pulled and we get a reorganization. Is it going to be painful? Yeah, but the country will survive. The country will survive. America will survive, and you want America to survive, not your 401k. And, who knows how much money he could confiscate and how many pensions he can fund and how many people he can take care of if he does a mass confiscation. I don't know how this is going to go, but it's ugly. And if you take a look at this, too, the what the central banks are doing, and I just wanted to point this out. You talk about central banks, and this is a woman by the name of Laura that sends me all kinds of great stuff. Laura, thank you for this. I love charts. I love when you just have a chart, and this is central bank gold buying set for a new high in 2019. See this right here? It's going to a new high. Here's 2013. It's gone down, but central banks have been buying gold since, 2010. They've been net buyers since 2010. This year, they're going to buy at least right at 20% of the mine supply. That's 2,500 tons? They were net sellers 71 to 2010. And then all of a sudden, bam, right after the financial crisis, central banks start buying gold. So, folks, all I can tell you is that this is what is actually, and this is Bloomberg, incidentally. This is not some far, cuckoo, crazy time, nuttyville, tinfoil hat wearing people. This is Bloomberg.com, that's owned by Michael Bloomberg, the guy who's running for a candidate, that central banks are buying gold, and you can see it on a chart, and it's happening. And this is what they're willing to tell you overtly. Who knows what they're doing covertly, but it ain't selling. It's buying. And that's just a tip for you to figure out what you should be doing. What you should be doing, in my humble opinion, is getting out of debt. Don't get cute and take out a lot of debt and think, I'm going to pay all this back with a 10th ounce of gold. No, I wouldn't do that. I would get out of debt. I would make sure I had food and water stored. I'd have a way to protect it. I would buy, if nothing else, buy yourself silver. One guy told me, he says, hey, do you think I think I can afford to buy at least 2 silver coins a month. Do it. Do it while you can. It's never going to be any less expensive than it is right now. I think it's going to go way up. But this is very destabilizing, this whole impeachment thing, this whole FISA drop, and then behind that is going to be the criminal investigation. You're going to see very destabilizing things. And the Democrats in the House with this stupid impeachment hearing trying to throw anything up so they can try to have something to fight back with, and something they can maybe leverage in some way. Maybe we can take out Donald Trump. Maybe we can smear him with impeachment, and then he'll lose the election in 2020. I don't know. I don't know. But it's going awful for the Democrats, and that could cause some people to act desperately. I don't know, maybe Nancy Pelosi secretly, just to placate her base, will take the vote and really not arm twist that much and let it go down. I mean, they're talking about censure. There's a Democrat congresswoman up in Michigan that is talking about that, that maybe we should censor them. Maybe we should censor the president. And who's she hearing from? Her black constituents. There's a lot of polls out there saying that somewhere in the 30% percentile of the polls that they have that black people that are going to vote for Donald Trump. It's a disaster for Democrats. They got to keep black people on the thought plantation. You can't think for yourself. So anyway, that's the long and short of it. I think they're going to run it until it blows up. They've been trying to buy time. They've been trying to set all these federal judges. They've been trying to cut regulation. They've been trying to set up the Justice Department, clean out the FBI. They've been trying to, get a solid footing so the administration has a solid footing to fight a war. Just got rid of somebody, the Secretary of the Navy, flushed him out. Folks, this is unlike any time we've ever seen in the history of America. Period. The end. And so you guys need to get ready and stay ready. And that's all the best advice I can give you. Don't be afraid. Be informed. That's what I'm doing here, to inform you. And try to do everything you can to make yourself more resilient. That's my best advice, especially when I ask for, I ask my guests, what should little people do? Well, I'm telling you what little people should do. I'm a little person. Make yourself resilient as you can. It'll help soften the blow. And maybe the blow won't be that bad, and maybe Donald Trump will do it way better than you think. And then, but you know what? The deep state is going to be vicious. I mean, you already see what's happening in the media. Just outright lies. Just lie. Just print a lie. You're seeing, somebody like Devin Nunes suing CNN for $435 million. That would never happen in my day. No way. There is no way that could ever happen back when I worked at CNN because of so many layers of approval and vetting and lawyering and bosses. And no way that could ever happen. But it's happening now. And that's how desperate they are. So all that to get to my favorite phrase in this whole thing. Oh, before I stop, thank you very much for your donations. I'm getting some Christmas cards in here. Merry Christmas. I'm a Merry Christmas guy. I'm getting some Christmas cards. The cards you send will be displayed around my house on the mantle, whatever. I love that. I love Christmas. My preacher's his favorite holiday. He puts his Christmas tree up before Thanksgiving. I know, he says, I know people say it should be after, but I love Christmas so much that it's my favorite time of year. He puts it up like a week before Thanksgiving. Anyway, I digress. Thank you very much for your support of USAWatchdog.com, your comments, your donations, and remember, fear not. Prepare yourself mentally, physically, above all spiritually. Fear not. God the Father and His Son, Jesus Christ, are firmly in control.